name is Gautam Goyal. I have secured All India rank 223 in the Civil Services Examination 2018. Today I will be discussing my answer writing strategy with you. So for answer writing, for all four papers there are some slight differences which one should take note of. But there is a general pattern which I followed. For example, starting with there is a small introduction which could either be basically defining one particular key term in the question, or it could also be giving a context of the question, why it has been asked. The second thing should of course come your body, which will consist of all the matter which you are going to write. And the third thing which you are going to write here is the conclusion. The conclusion could be basically summarizing what you have written in the body, or even in the, I would say, you can write a lot of other things such as recommendations by the government, or what is your opinion if it has been asked in the question, and other things. But there is also other strategy which I followed writing answers, which I missed in my first attempt, was how to make sure that you have answered all the part of the question, one, and how the examiner gets to know that you have answered all the parts of the question. Because examiner does not have the time to look at your answers as keenly as you might have written them. So for that purpose, I ensured that my subheadings in the question were basically taken from the question statement itself, and I used to underline them or basically put them inside a box, one, and then I would go on to elaborate them. Second, if it's a 15-mark question, or basically if it's of 250 words, I would make sure that at least I have included a diagram or some other kind of table or some kind of flow chart into the question. In this way I could also add more and more value into my answer. Sometimes the question demands implicitly a lot of information which you should give, and that is the point where actually those flow charts, those tables would come in handy. Also, the thing which you can keep in mind is that answering those questions, always make sure that you have answered what has been asked. Do not basically stray away from the demand of the question itself or what has not been asked. And finally, for engineers or from those from science background who basically have certain, I would say, misconceptions about answer writing, that it would be very difficult for them to write answers in general studies. For them, I should say that actually they can use point-wise format if it suits them. That would be much more easier for them, one. Number two, they can add more and more content into the answers by writing in point-wise format. And also make sure that you underline the certain key concepts, and if it is more important than other such underline, you may double underline or triple underline as well. So basically your purpose is to make sure that the examiner reads your answers, and whatever you want him to read, that's what he reads. And finally, also make sure that your answer is generally backed by some data, some report, some committee recommendations. For example, in General Studies 1, the questions like secularism, communalism often come. In those questions, you can ensure that certain committee reports, certain schemes which have been started by the government, they are actually included in your answers. Or coming to paper 2, you can also include, there are lots of commissions which are set up from time to time. There are reports like ARC. You may not need to read the whole ARC report. Even the subheadings or headings are enough, so that you may simply mention that ARC report in your answers. Similarly, paper 3, since it consists of economics, lots of environment, science and technology, here your more and more data, more and more diagrams can actually come, and you can basically beautify your answers. Coming to paper 4, you can ensure here that you may write sometimes a good quote which is relevant to the question asked, or you may also write some story, real life story or an anecdote in your answer if you have space or if you have time, so that you may add value to your answers. And the last point which I want to tell, that answer writing practice is the most important point in this journey, and for that you may also join a coaching institute for test series such as I joined Forum IS. But at the same time, since these test series are conducted at certain intervals, they will give you a general brief about how you are performing. But on day to day, if you want to improve, you should consider some online resources or online websites which give you questions to practice on a daily basis. For example, I used IS Baba's daily TLP, which is answer writing program, in which they used to give 5 questions daily, and I had maintained a fair notebook in which I used to write those questions and measure my time, measure my performance, and then also match those answers with other people and even their sample answers. So this thing actually helped me to improve my answer writing on a day-to-day basis. And I think this might also help you. You may consider Insights as well, or you may consider IS Baba. There are other resources like Forum IS or even Clear IS, which you can consider, whichever suits you in that respect. I think that is all which I want to discuss in the answer writing session, and I hope my some of my pointers are going to help you in your preparation. Thanks a lot.